dead of night, the Germans heard a sound that chilled them to the bone, the whistling of wooden propellers. These were the night witches, female Soviet pilots who became legends and nightmares for the Nazis. Flying plywood planes, without radios, without parachutes, they carried out daring night raids on German positions. The Germans called them Nachthexen, night witches, because their gliding planes sounded like broomsticks in the wind. But who were these women? And how did they change aerial warfare forever? The story begins in 1941, after Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union, with the USSR desperate for pilots. Marina Raskova, a famous Soviet aviator, convinced Stalin to form all-female combat aviation regiments. One of these regiments was the 588th Night Bomber Regiment, later known as the Night Witches. Flying Polikarpov Pa-2 planes, made mostly of wood and canvas. They were slow and fragile, but silent and deadly. The planes had no radios, no radar, and often no parachutes. Every mission was a test of courage. By 1942, these women flew hundreds of night missions, harassing German troops and supply lines. Their tactic was simple: fly low, cut the engine, glide silently, and drop bombs directly on the enemy. The element of surprise was their deadliest weapon. Germans never knew when or where the bombs would fall. Some planes were so fragile they could barely climb above 2,000 meters. Yet that was enough to strike terror. And these women weren't just brave, they were skilled, often flying multiple missions a night. Training was harsh. Pilots had to master night navigation with only the stars and moonlight. They slept in trenches, ate meager rations, and endured freezing nights in unheated barracks. Yet morale was high. Friendship and camaraderie kept them going, even in the darkest nights. Before missions, pilots would write letters home, often unsure if they'd return. Some pilots flew over 18 missions in a single night, dodging flak and enemy fighters. Every takeoff and landing was risky, often on unpaved, mud-filled runways. Yet despite danger, their impact was undeniable, and German morale plummeted. Nazis called them witches, but these women were more than legends. They were real heroes. Their missions included bombing supply depots, bridges, and frontline trenches. Precision and timing were everything. Even a slight error could be fatal. Night raids required nerves of steel. One mistake could mean death from flak or fighters. They flew low to avoid radar, sometimes skimming treetops to evade detection. Engines were often turned off during final approach to glide silently over targets. The Germans never knew when or where the bombs would fall. Terror came in whispers. The planes were slow and fragile, yet this made them harder to hit with fast anti-aircraft fire. Some pilots completed up to 10 missions a night, risking frostbite, exhaustion, and bullets. Missions were short but intense, often lasting just 15 minutes over enemy territory. They flew in small formations, using stealth rather than firepower to accomplish objectives. One legendary tactic was to idle the engine, glide over the target, and drop bombs directly on barracks. The impact was devastating. Supplies destroyed, troops demoralized, and chaos in the night. Despite the dangers, the Night Witches prided themselves on leaving no trace of their approach. Their planes may have been slow, but their strategy was unmatched in precision and stealth. Some pilots became infamous, with German troops terrified of specific women. One pilot flew 18 missions in one night, earning the nickname Night Devil among German troops. Their bravery inspired the entire regiment, who often flew together in tight-knit teams. The Night Witches never surrendered, even when faced with superior German firepower. Flying wooden planes might have seemed primitive, but their simplicity was their strength. The women became symbols of resilience, defying the idea that only men could fight in war. They flew through freezing temperatures, rain and snow, their courage unwavering. And with every mission, the legend of the Night Witches grew among friend and foe alike. Among these women were legendary pilots like Yevdokia Bershanskaya, Nadezhda Popova, and Maria Smirnova. Nadezhda Popova flew over 1,000 combat missions, more than many male pilots in the war. They became masters of stealth, often outsmarting German anti-aircraft defenses with clever tactics. Some pilots even performed reconnaissance before bombing, gathering intelligence for Soviet forces. One night, a witch once dropped bombs on a fuel depot, then landed nearby to confirm the damage firsthand. The Germans tried to counter them with faster planes and night fighters, but the night witches adapted. Flying lightweight planes made them agile. They could dodge enemy fire that heavier planes could not. Their bravery inspired other Soviet forces, proving women could perform under extreme combat conditions. Some missions involved multiple bomb runs in a single night, often in freezing winter conditions. Despite exhaustion, they often returned to base, only to fly again hours later. Their courage earned them respect, even from their enemies, who feared the night witches' silent attacks. Some pilots became legends, their names whispered in both Soviet camps and German barracks. These women combined skill, cunning, and sheer bravery, redefining what it meant to be a pilot in war. Their planes may have been made of wood, but their impact on the war was steel strong. For every mission flown, for every German position destroyed, the night witches' legend grew.